In the mountain valleys of the American West, beneath snow-covered peaks and sage-filled plains, two mining operations changed the course of history and built one of America's greatest fortunes. This is the story of George Hearst's empire, stretching from the silver hills of Utah to the gold-laden Black Hills of South Dakota, connected by the vision of one man who saw treasure where others saw only rock. The year was 1872. Park City, Utah, was little more than a collection of rough cabins and ambitious prospectors clinging to mountainsides that held secrets in their depths. Just 3 years earlier, soldiers from Camp Douglas near Salt Lake City had discovered the area that would become Bonanza Flat. They staked the Flagstaff claim, sold it for $5,000, and started what would become one of the greatest silver rushes in American history. But it was the Ontario mine that truly put Park City on the map. Discovered by prospectors from Canada, the Ontario's outcropping showed ore so rich it assayed at 400 ounces of silver per ton. When word reached San Francisco, it caught the attention of a man who had built his reputation on knowing good ore. His name was George Hearst. Born near Sullivan, Missouri on September 3, 1820, George Hearst grew up far removed from the glittering promises of Western mines. His father operated 3 small farms, all mortgaged, and young George received only fragments of formal education. But what he lacked in schooling he made up for in observation. He spent free time at local lead mines, reading everything about minerals and mining. When his father died in 1846, leaving $10,000 in debt, 26-year-old George took charge. He opened a small store, leased lead and copper mines, and within 2 years paid off every creditor. Missouri couldn't contain his ambitions. In May of 1850, he organized a wagon train to California, leaving behind his worried mother and sister. In the gold fields, Hearst learned the difference between luck and skill. He studied geology, watched how ore bodies formed, developed an almost supernatural ability to read the earth. By 1859, when someone brought samples of blue stuff from western Utah Territory to a Nevada County assayer, Hearst recognized what others missed. This was silver, and it was rich. He hurried to the Washoe district near present-day Virginia City and bought a 1/6 interest in the Ophir mine. That winter, Hearst and his partners mined 38 tons of high-grade silver ore, packed it across the Sierra Nevada on muleback, had it smelted in San Francisco, and made $91,000 profit. When people saw those bars of Ophir silver, the rush to Washoe began. George Hearst had arrived as a mining magnate. In San Francisco, Hearst partnered with 2 attorneys from Kentucky, James Ben Ali Haggin and Lloyd Tevis. The 3 formed Hearst, Haggin, Tevis and Company, which would become the largest private owner of mines in America. While his partners remained in posh offices, George Hearst traveled constantly, living in rough camps, scratching at the earth himself, using his hands and eyes to find what others overlooked. In 1872, Hearst's friend Marcus Daly suggested he look at the Ontario mine in Park City. Hearst traveled to Utah with business partner Robert C. Chambers to examine mining prospects. When he arrived, he found the McHenry mine flooded at 400 feet and declined to purchase it because he always wanted to see actual ore before investing. But on his way back over the mountain divide, he encountered prospectors working the Ontario claim and was immediately impressed. Hearst told Chambers to watch the Ontario and purchase it if the price was right, offering Chambers a 1/3 interest. In August of 1872, a Salt Lake newspaper announced the sale. The Ontario mine had been purchased by George Hearst for $27,000 cash. By October, 22 men were working with 2 shafts sunk 50 feet deep, and ore was assaying at an astounding $200 per ton. The Ontario would prove legendary. It carried Hearst through the Panic of 1873, when many operations failed, and over the next 10 years it produced $17 million in silver. The mine employed hundreds of Park City workers and became one of the most significant producers in the entire territory. Its success helped transform Park City from a rough camp into a permanent community. The Ontario's tunnels went deep into the mountain, following veins that seemed inexhaustible, Engineers sank shafts and drove adits, creating an underground network that stretched for miles. One impressive achievement was the Judge Tunnel. Driven from a portal at the intersection of Empire Canyon and Walker-Webster Gulch, workers averaged 15 feet per day, astonishing for the time. The tunnel intersected the anchor shaft 1,200 feet below the collar, a tremendous feat. This tunnel continues draining water over 100 years later and still provides culinary water for Park City. If you're fascinated by the untold stories of America's mining frontier and the men who shaped the West, please subscribe to our channel for more historical documentaries that bring the past to life. While the Ontario was making Hearst wealthy, another discovery was about to make him one of the richest men in America. In spring 1876, 4 men were working in the Black Hills of Dakota Territory, an area guaranteed to the Lakota Nation by treaty, but overrun by prospectors following General Custer's 1874 expedition. Fred and Moses Manuel, French Canadians who had panned across the West, were partnered with Hank Harney and Alexander Eng. They found rich float quartz in a fork of Gold Run Gulch. The brothers named their claim the Homestake, hoping it would be rich enough to send them home in style. They worked through summer and fall, extracting over $5,000 in gold from surface workings. But they needed capital to develop the mine properly, and in the Black Hills of 1876, capital was scarce. News of the Homestake reached George Hearst in San Francisco, and in October 1877, the 57-year-old magnate arrived in Deadwood. He was already wealthy from Nevada silver and Utah mines, but what he saw told him this could be the greatest strike of his career. His trained hands and eyes recognized the potential in the exposed outcropping. In June 1877, Hearst, Hagen, and Tevis purchased the claim from the Manuel brothers for $70,000. George Hearst now controlled what would become the most productive gold mine in American history. He arranged to haul mining equipment by wagon from the nearest railhead in Sidney, Nebraska, a journey of hundreds of miles across rough territory. Despite the remote location and harsh conditions, Hearst pushed forward with characteristic determination. An 80-stamp mill was constructed and began crushing Homestake ore by July 1878. Within 3 years, Hearst had established the mine and acquired significant surrounding claims. He bought out adjacent properties and secured others through courts. The process wasn't always peaceful. Hearst purchased newspapers in Deadwood to influence public opinion. An opposing editor was physically attacked on a Deadwood street. Competition for mining claims could be deadly, and Hearst realized he might become a target. He wrote his partners, asking them to provide for his family should he be murdered. But Hearst walked out alive, and very rich. By March 1879, he had added the giant Golden Star, Nettie, Maybuth, Golden Star No. 2, Crown Point, Sunrise, and General Ellison claims to the original 2 of the Manuel brothers, totaling 30 acres. In 1879, Hearst sold shares in the Homestake Mining Company and listed it on the New York Stock Exchange, making it the first publicly traded mining stock in America. The Homestake grew rapidly. By 1880, the 10-stamp mill had become 200 stamps, and 500 employees worked in the mine, mills, offices, and shops. Hearst owned the Boulder Ditch and water rights to Whitewood Creek, effectively monopolizing the region's water supply. His railroad, the Black Hills and Fort Pierre Railroad, gave him access to eastern Dakota Territory. By 1900, Homestake owned 300 claims covering 2,000 acres and employed over 2,000 workers. The engineering achievements were remarkable. In 1901, the mine started using compressed air locomotives, fully replacing mules and horses by the 1920s. Mining engineer Charles Washington Merrill, nicknamed Cyanide Charlie, introduced cyanidization to augment mercury amalgamation for gold recovery, achieving 94% recovery rates. Gold was shipped to the Denver Mint in bars representing the labor of thousands working miles beneath the earth. The shafts went deeper and deeper. By 1906, the Ellison shaft reached 1,550 feet, the B&M shaft 1,250 feet, the Golden Star 1,100 feet, and the Golden Prospect 900 feet. The mine produced 1.5 million short tons of ore that year alone. The gold ore at Homestake was considered low grade, containing less than 1 ounce per ton, What made it profitable was the sheer size of the ore body. Meanwhile, the Silver King mine was writing its own chapter in Utah history. Thomas Kearns and David Keith, who had started as workers at the Ontario mine, struck out on their own in the 1880s. Kearns urged Keith to consolidate claims on Treasure Hill, and terrific profits followed. They purchased surrounding claims and expanded operations. In 1892, Kearns, Keith and partners including Ab Emery, W.V. Rice, and John Judge acquired a lease on the Mayflower claim. While working the interior, they found ore extended into Silver King property. The five who incorporated these claims in 1892 were among Park City's most colorful characters. Thomas Kearns would become a United States Senator. He and David Keith built mansions on South Temple Street in Salt Lake City that still stand as monuments to mining wealth. Susanna Bransford Emery Holmes, partner in the Silver King mine, became known as Utah's Silver Queen. Keith had come to Park City in 1883 from Nova Scotia with considerable Nevada mining experience. He joined the Ontario as foreman, but left in 1885 to pursue his own ventures. His partnership with Kearns proved one of the most successful in Utah mining history. The Silver King Mining Company was incorporated for $3 million, and the well-managed property quickly attained high ranking among bonanza silver and lead mines. The Silver King's success was particularly remarkable because it survived the panic of 1893, when silver prices plummeted and many smaller Park City mines couldn't weather the economic storm. The Silver King was extracting high-grade ore and operating with minimal overhead, which allowed the owners to actually make money during the crisis. They used capital to purchase surrounding mine companies and consolidate holdings. One impressive achievement was the aerial tramway installed in 1900. Over 7,000 feet long, the tramway's lower terminal was located in downtown Park City, adjacent to the Union Pacific and Rio Grande Railroad depots. Loading was done by one man and unloading was automatic, with ore falling directly into freight cars. On the return trip, buckets brought all coal used at the mine, mill, and boarding house. The total fall from mine to lower terminal was 1,000 feet. Despite a steep rise at the head, ore buckets were propelled by gravity, though returning coal required additional power. This tramway remained in service until 1952. George Hearst didn't live to see the full flowering of either operation. In 1887, he had been appointed United States Senator to fill a vacancy and was elected as a Democrat later that year. He served until his death in 1891 at age 70. His wife, Phoebe Hurst, whom he had married when he was 41 and she 19, took control of the family's mining empire. Phoebe Hurst proved far more than just a wealthy widow managing her late husband's investments. She became deeply involved in the welfare of both mining communities. In Lead, South Dakota, she made several visits to the town her husband helped create. Under her ownership, the Homestake Mining Company, or Phoebe, personally gave the city medical care, a library, a recreation center, and a kindergarten. She established the Hearst Free Public Library and, in 1900, the Hearst Free Kindergarten. She donated regularly to Leeds churches and provided college scholarships to the children of miners and mill workers. Through its lifetime, the Homestake mine produced more than 40 million troy ounces of gold and 9 million troy ounces of silver. At today's prices, that production would be worth over $70 billion. The mine averaged just 0.3 ounces of gold for each ton mined, but massive scale made it profitable for over 125 years. It was the longest continuously operating mine in United States history and produced more gold than any other American mine. The Homestake finally closed in January 2002 after more than 125 years of continuous operation. Low gold prices, poor ore quality at remaining accessible depths, and high operating costs made continued mining uneconomical. On January 18, 2002, miners pulled the last ton of ore from the Homestake. The closure devastated Lead's economy. But the story didn't end. In 2006, the property was given to the state of South Dakota. With millions in government and philanthropic funding, the Homestake became the Sanford Underground Research Facility, one of the deepest underground laboratories in the world. Scientists now work in depths where miners once extracted gold, using the shielding provided by more than a mile of rock to study neutrinos and other fundamental particles. In Park City, transformation from mining town to ski resort began in earnest in 1963, when Treasure Mountain, now Park City Mountain Resort, opened on land owned by United Park City Mines Company. The same mountains that produced billions in silver now host Olympic skiing events and welcome millions of visitors yearly. The Silver King Coalition mine closed in 1953 when metal prices were too low. To this day, there are still more than 1,000 miles of old silver mine workings beneath the slopes at Park City Mountain Resort and neighboring Deer Valley. On Main Street, 64 Victorian buildings are listed in the National Register of Historic Places. In January 2025, the Silver King Coalition Mine Historic District was officially added to the National Register, recognizing its significance in American industrial history. George Hearst's vision connected these two great mining operations, not through physical tunnels, but through the network of capital, expertise, and determination that characterized America's Gilded Age. His Ontario mine in Utah produced over $50 million in its lifetime. His Homestake in South Dakota produced gold worth billions. Together, they helped finance the settlement of the West, the growth of American cities, and the creation of industrial and media empires that shaped the nation. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the real history of America's greatest mining operations, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more documentaries that uncover the forgotten stories of the American West.